Welcome back to another episode of Full Circle. Lexie, how you doing?
Hey, girl. I'm good. 5 points away. No, 6 points away from 1,000. Woo! Yeah, guys, I got in the game.
I know that's right.
A few days ago against Dallas. Scored 5 little points. So we're chipping away, guys. How many games we got left? We got 6 more games.
As you should.
Guys, 6 points. I don't know. That's just it's crazy that I'm like, can I get 6 points in 6 games? I don't know. But we gonna try. I would like to have this done before playoffs.
Yes, you can.
I would like to have this done before playoffs, so then I could just vibe out for the rest of the season. Like, I just want to be able to be like, you know what?
Exactly.
Here's a small, tiny personal bright spot of my season this year was getting to 1,000 points. So that would be amazing. But how are you doing? How are you doing? You got new hair. You look cute.
Girl.
You look so good. I love the braids.
You guys, I was just talking to Lexie before we started recording about how really not just Lexie, but everybody at the W, y'all keep your hair did.
Yeah.
Now, I understand when people have short hair, you know what I'm saying? But the girls who have their hair did, I'm like, y'all are working out every single day.
Yeah.
You're professional athletes. How was your hair always pristine?
I will say there's like 10 players that I'm always like, your hair is always laid. It always looks good. Not a hair out of place. They switch up the colors. They just switch up the styles. I mean, I just love being a girl. That's like one of the things that I just love being a girl.
Same.
Like that's one of the fun things in our league is we always talk about it, personal style, looks, makeup, outfits, like everything. Like just so many things that you see in women's sports that you just don't see as much in men's sports. I feel like the men's athletes are getting a little bit more in their This Is Who I Am back. Like I just saw, I think it was Jalen Williams from OKC. He's like out shopping in Tokyo or wherever he is, and he has like a big jumbo Chanel with this big jumbo Chanel, and everyone was like,
I saw that.
Shame, shame, shame. And I was like,
wait, people were mad at that? Oh my God.
People get mad at everything, but like, it's
I
a bag.
thought he was eating. Yeah.
It's a bag. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen those bags. Like, they're pretty big and they can hold a lot of stuff. Chanel is not just for the girls. Like, it's a brand.
Also, people need to carry their stuff. I be telling my boyfriend, I'm like, quit putting your wallet and all your stuff in your pocket. You need a little bag. Like,
you need a bag. Like, yes, maybe not a jumbo flap Chanel, okay, but that's his swag.
Maybe like a backpack or a fanny pack or like anything else.
But also a backpack is not for all situations. Like when I graduated college, I think I stopped carrying around a backpack like my second year in the league, I think. I was like, I don't really want to carry this around anymore. So now I just carry like big tote bags. Like I'll throw my basketball shoes in there and everything. Like, I don't know, I try to get like a cute backpack, but I was like, I just feel like a little kid with a backpack sometimes, or a boy.
I get it.
So I just get huge bags. Okay, anyway, guys, this is a basketball show. Sorry, but
yes, back to the basketball. But
there's a lot to get into this week. I want to start with MVP. I really do,
of course.
And I think we're gonna like pound this into the ground because I think for the most part, all postseason awards, maybe outside of Defensive Player of the Year, are pretty much locked up, I think, as far as Most Improved, Sixth Player of the Year. But MVP is getting real spicy. It's getting real spicy.
Right.
Last time we were on the show, we were begging Fee to come back, and that's exactly what she did last night, dropping 32-9. In her returns, she heard us. She heard everybody saying, Fee, come get your MVP. Come back. They're catching you. Unfortunately, I think she's been caught in past, despite her 32-point outing. And here's why, guys. Please bear with me, okay? The whole season this has been like a very pro Minnesota Lynx pod. This has been a very pro Fee for MVP pod. But the numbers do not lie, guys, okay? So currently, I don't know what the odds are for the MVP stuff. If Fee's still in first, we'll start with her. She's averaging 23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Asia is averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. And the third person that I think is the MVP race is Alyssa Thomas, who's averaging 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. Okay, so what are they? We have the Lynx in first place. Who's in second? The Dream are in second. The Aces are now in third.
10 straight wins.
And Phoenix is in fourth. So now we have a bit of a dilemma here. My new argument, guys, I'm jumping the Fee ship. I'm sorry. I'm on the Asia for MVP bandwagon now. I'm here, guys.
That's what I thought.
And
That's
I
how
thought
I feel.
I was gonna jump to the AT, but the numbers do not lie. Asia right now has the highest total points and total rebounds, with 789 points and 346 rebounds. In second place, no, not in second place. I'm not sure what place they're in, but Fee only has 644 total points. Not only, that's a lot of freaking points, but in comparison to Asia, almost 150 less. And then AT has 273 total rebounds, which is around 70, 80 less than Asia. So if we're talking about importance to the squad, overall performance, numbers, I feel like this is kind of it's becoming an easier choice. But
Asia Wilson, look, here's the thing. They're on a 10-game winning streak, which is their longest since 2021. She is carrying this team with multiple 30-point games, like multiple double-doubles. Hold on, I have it here. 19th double-double. Like now with 10 career 30-point games and multiple seasons. Like look, we argued last week. When you're voting, are you voting based on best player on best team that is primed to win a championship? The Lynx were first to 30 wins, whatever, first to clinch a playoff spot. Are you going with that route? Okay, Fee is leading that charge, whatever. Or are you going with the route, the best player whose team would be down the worst without them, if that makes sense? But Asia's kind of both now. So like they're in third, they're winning, and she's the best player on this team. So you can't really deny her anymore.
No, you can't. And I think that she felt that energy from the media that, Fee was running away with the MVP, which, in the first half of the season, pre-All-Star, that was definitely an argument, and the numbers backed it up and the record backed it up. But that's why it's a long season. That's why it's an end-of-season award. You don't give people their awards halfway through the season because things change, personnel changes, teams go through their ups and downs at different times of the year. I know I always say that, you set a standard for yourself getting these awards and you must match it or surpass it. But what Asia did in that unanimous 2024 season was just absolutely ridiculous. Once in a lifetime type performance you see from a player on any level, either gender. What she did in 2024 was absolutely insane. So it is a little bit unfair to use that as her baseline because, that was just a really special season. She was a unanimous 2024 MVP. So this season is kind of reminding me of the 2023 MVP voting. That was very dramatic and weird. And that was when we had the infamous fourth place vote for Asia.
Yes.
So in 2023, it was between AT, Stewie, and Asia. So those were the three players that were in legitimate contention. AT led the first place votes with 23. She had the most first place votes, but she also had the most third place votes. She ended up losing to Stewie by 7 points. That was it. Okay. The last time the person who led in first place votes lost the MVP was in 2005. And that's when Cheryl Swoops won MVP over Lauren Jackson. So Lauren Jackson had more first place votes, but didn't win MVP. So that's only happened 2 times in WNBA history. I was looking at the charts. They show the voting chart of where the votes are distributed. You get a vote for first place through fifth place. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
There shouldn't be five votes. I'm going to say this every time. You shorten the list as the season goes on. You know, there's like people on the list that had like one fifth place vote or a third place vote and like 3 fifth place votes. Like you don't have a chance to win. Like I said, it's probably really nice to feel like you're in these conversations with these amazing players in this league. So I get that. But like let that come out like all-star break. Like once a month. Like let's release like voting of where you think everybody is or like the
An MVP
ladder.
ladder.
Yeah, and then by the time we're getting like the last like 12, 15, I wouldn't say 15 because our season's so short. I would say like maybe 8 to 10 games. You shorten that list down to like 3 or 4, depending on how close everybody is. Because in that 2023 year, it was AT, Fee, Stewie, and then everybody up here, and then everybody else was like down here. So it was like a waste of voting. And like those votes could have went to those 3 players who are really in contention. And when you lose by 7 points, and you lead in all first place votes, that's like you want to like punch everybody that voted because why are you wasting your votes on these players? Like it just doesn't make sense to me why there's that many choices for MVP when like clearly like right now there's 3 or 4 players that are in legitimate contention to win MVP. So I hope that but again, I can't say the voters get it right because I see a case for each player. So I'm like really excited to see how the voting shakes out. Like, I
want to ask about the third player in this conversation because we talked a lot about Fee throughout the season. We gave our reasons why Asia's kind of surpassed Fee and the MVP conversation in our heads. But AT, she got her 6th triple-double of the season, tied her own record. She now has 20 career triple-doubles. The next closest person, as Lexie has highlighted, has 4. Top 15 scoring, first in assists, second in rebounds, I believe. My question is, now that she's been in this conversation multiple times, what does she need to do to be able to overtake these 2 and be able to win this award? Is that possible? What's missing?
She doesn't score enough. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest, most glaring thing. Like, she scores 16 points a game. Like, that's great. Along with her 9 assists and 9 rebounds. She's gonna have to average a triple-double. And for, like, it seems like such an unfair thing to ask of a player. Like, for you have these 2 players who are playing out of their minds, averaging 24 or 3 points per game. 10 rebounds, 8 rebounds, but you're like, you know what, AT, you got to average a triple-double, and then maybe you'll have a chance. Like, I just feel like that's so crazy, but like that's just how good of a player she is. And we're always talking about the constant moving of the goalposts, and that applies to everybody. It doesn't just apply to your fave or this person's fave. Like, I feel like everybody feels like goalposts have been moved not in their favor at some point in their career. And I feel like AT is definitely like the poster child of that. I think she absolutely should have won that 2023 MVP. I think she deserved it. She was first in rebounding and assists that year. And Stewie was actually second in scoring as far as total points. So, not saying Stewie didn't deserve that MVP because she absolutely had such a great season that year, but that was like prime time for AT to win. I think they agreed. She got the most first place votes. I think a lot of people thought she should have won the MVP. So do I think that they try to right their wrong this year? I think they might try to, but I don't know. I think Asia and Fee have just put together such amazing seasons. It's going to be hard for them to do that. But again, we always relate Asia to Jokic. Like our voters get voter fatigue. And like, again, that's another moving up the goalpost. Like you're going to be mad at someone for being extremely great at what they do and be like, you know what? We're tired of giving them this award, so we're going to give it to somebody else. I think that's dumb as well. If Asia wins MVP this year, she will be the first player in WNBA history to be a 4-time WNBA MVP, which is absolutely insane considering the amount of talented women that have come through this league. Would you like to guess who? And how young she is. Would you like to guess who the other 3-time winners could be?
Guess? Oh my gosh, you always got me on trivia.
Fun facts with Lexie.
Okay, let me think.
You can if you can get one of them, I'll be impressed.
Maya Moore?
Nope.
Cheryl Swoops?
Ding, ding, ding. Okay, you
Cheryl
want to do
Miller?
another one? Nope.
I don't know. I don't want to be wrong.
All right, one more guess. One more guess.
DT?
Nope. She only won once. If you can believe that.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The other two
Sue
are
Bird?
nope. The other two are Lisa Leslie and Lauren Jackson.
Damn. Why didn't
Yeah.
I guess Lisa Leslie? That's so stupid of me.
Well, it was a long time ago. No shade, Lisa. I'm not trying to age you, but that was a long time ago. And I feel like a lot of people even forget how good Lauren Jackson was. She played for the Storm. She played with Sue Bird. She's Australian legend. She was insane. She was so good. But yes, Asia will be the first 4-time MVP, which I think will be amazing. And I don't think this will be her last MVP either. Like we said, she is just tapping into her prime years, which is scary. But this is going to be a very fun MVP race. I hope that some more media members come out publicly and say who they voted for and why. I think that would be good for the game. I think that it would be fun to see different things that people value. I don't know why it has to be such a big secret. So yeah, I'm excited
Yeah, it's
for
not
that.
like that in the men's.
No,
People be
like
saying.
say it with your chest. There are
Yeah.
some media members that are like, here's my ballot, here's how I voted. And I respect those people. I don't respect the ones that throw a rock and hide a hand. Like,
Right.
if you want to vote for this person, it's okay. Just tell me why. Only because I want to know. I'm nosy, not because I want to argue with you. I just want to know.
That's you, though.
Okay,
that's not everybody else.
I know, right? People do love arguing down. So good luck to the voters. This is not going to be easy. Not everyone's going to be happy, obviously. But I think that it's going to be close. I wonder if there's going to be a chance of it being tied. That would be crazy.
Is that possible? Do they have enough? Like, do they distribute the votes in a way where that's even possible?
I don't know, but if that happens, that would be a cop-out, and I would hate that. So I hope that they don't do that. Or be like, you know what?
No.
All three of you get it. Everybody gets it. Everybody
I don't
wins.
think they'll do that. Or they
better
would have to
not.
vote again or something. Like, they have to give it to one person.
They have to give it to one person.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, shout out to the voters. I'm glad I'm not one of y'all. Moving on. Moving on to the next thing. Let's talk about this recent conversation about the back-to-back games. I know I've actually seen quite a few videos on TikTok responding to the comments made by Satu Sabali about the back-to-backs, including Patrick Beverly. Pat Bev chimed in, which I was like, oh, okay, we got to talk about this on our show. If Pat Bev got something to say, we definitely need to have something to say about it. So I do want to hear from you, Mariah, as like, because a lot of the comments, not calling you like a normal or regular person by any means, but I did see a lot of comments like, well, we work 8 to 9 hours a day and have to get up every day and work 8 to 9 hours a day as well, which I think that's a very valid point of view, but it's not the same as like playing. I don't think Satu meant I don't want to work hard. I don't want to work. I think she genuinely is like, my body is what makes me money and it's getting run into the ground. Can we please do something about that? So how do you feel about the statements made by Satu?
Here's my thing. Number one, I don't ever want to hear what an NBA player has to say about a WNBA player complaining about the schedule. That should be self-explanatory to anybody who watches sports. Okay? Half of y'all don't play in back-to-backs because you don't feel like it. And do you know how much it costs to go to an NBA game? And these people are sitting there, and the biggest star on the team is on the bench in his street clothes, and he's not even hurt. So I'm not even trying to hear that. Number two, I don't think it's fair for, this might get me in trouble, but regular people, I feel like this comes up a lot with like regular people and athletes where people are like, well, we show up to work every day and blah, 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 but you did it. they're different things. Like, I don't like the whataboutism of social media where everybody applies their situation to every single situation. It's just different. People are different. People have different situations. At the end of the day, athletes work really, really hard. Like, I don't like the whataboutism of social media where people are like, oh, we do this, so you should have to do that. A lot of y'all sit at desks every single day, and some people do harder things, but like, you're not a professional athlete. You don't go to work and you're like running, jumping, shooting, exercising every single day. If she has an issue with her schedule, or if she doesn't want to do this, or if she doesn't want to do that, I feel like that's her prerogative to complain about. But at the end of the day, this might sound bad for me, but when I hear quotes like that, I take it with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, this is y'all's job. It's not like she's like, she's saying like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, if she has to play back to back and y'all have to play back to back, or we have to play back, it's going to happen anyways, you know? So
Right.
I don't really care.
I mean, and that's exactly
But
what she said. She was like, I'm going to show up and do my job every day, but this is how my body's feeling. This is how my mind is feeling about it. Like, let's do something about it. I think, yes, it is a league-wide problem of the condensed scheduling. We've maxed out at games per season at 44. Like, we literally cannot play more than 44 regular season games based on the CBA. So we've capped out on that. I'm looking at the coach, like, it's a coaching thing. If you see that your players are tired and exhausted, then play them less minutes. Like, simple fix. You have a team full of professional basketball players sitting right there at your disposal, most of which are very well rested because you don't play them. So I see both sides of this, because I've never played more than 30 minutes per game in my entire career, and that's only happened one time. The other times where I've played between 18 and 25 minutes per game in 3 or 4 seasons, and then 2 seasons, like, I haven't played. 3 seasons, I barely play. So I don't have the same perspective and point of view of these players that have logged 30 plus minutes almost every year of their careers. So I personally, I don't really have anything to say about that, because it's something that I personally haven't experienced. But I know how I feel and how my body feels after a flight, after a hard game, of me just sitting there watching, going through pregame warmups, doing my lifts during the day. Like, I know how my body feels. So yes, I put myself in their shoes constantly, because I'm like, I know that they're run down, but there's benches on every team full of players that never get any playing time. So yes, the back-to-backs are annoying. I did look up about the back-to-backs in the past. There's been back-to-backs like since the beginning of the league. Like, I looked it up. There's not an exact number, which I even asked ChatGPT. I need us to like tighten up on that, because I found the exact number of back-to-backs of the NBA seasons. But for the WNBA, there's not an exact number. So we need to tighten up on that. I didn't have enough time to go look at every schedule and see where the back-to-backs were. But the number I did find was that in 2010, the Minnesota Lynx had 4 back-to-back sets. Perspective. Last year in the NBA, every team had between 13 and 16 back-to-backs, on top of playing 82 games. So apples and oranges, yes, but I just want to put that into perspective, why Pat Bev decided to weigh in. He's been part of a league where you have a ton of back-to-backs. So I get why he needed to put his 2 cents in, because he did say he's a big advocate for the W. He wants us to get everything we deserve. He did preface his statements with that. But again, I'm like you, sir, zip it.
And I do have one more thing to say. From his comments and Satu's comments and what I just heard from you, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I also don't like the NBA schedule.
No, I
don't
think
like
it's
that either.
horrible. I think
It's
them
entirely
playing
too
that
many
many
games.
back-to-backs is crazy. It's way too many games. It's insane.
And as a fan and somebody who covers the league, like, I'm gonna just keep it a stack with y'all. I'm not trying to watch all them games. There's so many.
And not at 11 p.m.
Don't get me started on that. That's a whole other side thing. Like, I'm so
11
mad about that. Ain't nobody doing that. I'm sorry. I got Pilates at 7:30. Like,
No one
no.
got time for that.
Now I'm gonna watch the highlights on YouTube.
As a West Coaster, I'm not mad at it, but I clutched my pearls when I saw that announcement. And I said, who is staying up till 11 p.m. to watch a basketball game? A lot of people apparently, because they did it for a reason, you know, I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what those numbers look like. In my research, as well as looking up these back-to-backs, I stumbled across a cute little article from 2003, guys, an ESPN article from 2003 interviewing the president, the WNBA president at the time, whom her name is Val Ackerman. I think that was a woman. I'm pretty sure it was a woman, but Val, you don't know. Pretty sure that was a woman. So, you know how I always am talking about the distribution of minutes and how it's crazy and how blah, 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 blah. In 2003, they asked her about making the games potentially 48 minutes as well because they have so much talent in the league. In 2003, they were asking her that. So she said, you know, probably not because we need to have our slots in the 2 hour for the media, the TV. But okay, if we're thinking about what the TV was like in 2003, it was very cut. Like, you had the TV, you had cable, that was it. You didn't have streaming, you didn't have all these websites, you didn't have Amazon Prime, you didn't have Disney Plus, you didn't have all these things. Also, it was funny that I saw that the WNBA used to have their games on Oxygen, which I'm like, that's so girly and fun. Like, I want our games to be, like, put our games on Bravo or something. Like, I know it's on Ion right now, but could you imagine, like, in between an episode of Housewives, WNBA game? Like, I think that would be so cute. Okay, anyway. And then they also asked, I know this is like no longer about back-to-backs, but this was just all in the article that I was reading. They asked about opening up early entry because Diana Taurasi was in college. 2003.
Wow.
So, guys, these conversations have been happening for over 20 years. Over 20 years. So it's nice to see that because people think like all these conversations, all these ideas are like, oh, why not? No, you're not reinventing the wheel. You know, there's people who have been watching women's basketball for a long time who have asked these questions about extending the games because of the talent or opening up college or lowering the college age so talented players can come to the league early. Been there, done that. She said, absolutely not. We're not lowering the age. I don't care who you are. That was Diana Taurasi, guys, who we claimed as our GOAT last week. So, I'm just saying, change takes time. I don't think that age limit thing is going to change. I do think that 40 to 48 minute could change, but we'll see. I think
there's going to have to be more roster spots if they're going to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or it's just like...
That also goes into the back-to-backs thing, though, is what I was going to say.
Like I just keep saying, y'all, it's a slippery slope of CBA things, of front office things, of coaching things. Another thing that I looked up today, I looked up a lot of stuff this morning, guys. I was at a little coffee shop. We're in Indianapolis. There's not much to do here. I went and sat in the coffee shop and just did my little research this morning. We're talking about minutes played per game for these players, these super talented players. I looked up the minutes per game played for NBA players last season, and not a single player played 80% or more of their 48 minutes per game. Not one. In our league right now, I think there's like around 15 players that play 80+% of the 40 minutes.
Wow.
So that's a lot of minutes. And the fact that how talented the NBA is, they have more time and they still are not getting to that 80% threshold. And we have a plethora of players that are, and a lot of players that are like very, very close as well. You know, I think that, yes, these players deserve to be on the court. They help you win, do all the things. Coaches trust you. But again, there's just a lot of untapped talent on these WNBA benches, as y'all are seeing on the Valkyries. Before our very eyes, a team full of players that were not getting the opportunities that they probably thought that they deserved. And now they are in playoff contention, legitimate playoff contention in their first year being an expansion team. So That's all I'm gonna say about that. Back-to-backs, minutes, all of these fun numbers that I discovered
No,
today.
those numbers at the end really put it in perspective because, I mean, there's so many bodies in the NBA that allow them to have that flexibility to not have to play their best players more than 80% of a game. And in the WNBA, 15 players are going over that threshold. That's a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah, and again, that goes with their 82-game season. When I'm on Gills, they were always talking about how they kinda, like, plan their schedules, like, "Okay, like, this is a game we could lose if we need to, or this is a game we could lose if we need to, or this
Mhm.
player can sit this game. You know, if we
Which is
win
exactly
this
why the schedule is
game."
entirely too long.
Yeah.
'Cause
We don't
what?
have we don't have that luxury. We don't have that luxury to do that, so you're not gonna really see very many players scheduling losses, scheduling games to sit out of because we just don't have time for that. Nor I don't think that's not you shouldn't that's a whole conversation for another time, but like you said, the season is way too long. The players have to prioritize themselves, the organizations have to prioritize their player health and safety, and that's kind of been their happy medium. We're not there yet, so I'm looking at coaches, like, your players are literally in media saying how tired they are, and you are like, "Okay, play 40 minutes." And yes,
Yeah.
but hey, it's been like that for a long, long time. A long, long time.
Well, hopefully she is able to get some sort of rest. And what? Oh,
Our
hopefully she's able
our
to get some sort of rest and the men keep it cute.
keep it cute, please. I appreciate your
But
opinions and support, but not too
in some
much.
positive news, some records were broken in the past week. I want to start by talking about Miss Paige Bueckers. She wrote her name in the WNBA history books on Wednesday with an incredible 44% or 44%. I totally ruined my whole hype up of Paige. A 44-point outing, and the Dallas Wings lost to the Los Angeles Sparks. It ended in a buzzer beater, that is heartbreaking for somebody who drops 44, but neither here nor there. Incredible performance, and she attributed a lot of her success to the long lost forgotten mid-range. Lexie, what were your thoughts on Paige's outing and her quotes?
Well, y'all already know we love Paige here. 44 points on 80% shooting, 17 for 21, which is the first time a player in the league has scored 40 points shooting 80% or better. She tied Cynthia Cooper for most points for a rookie, which was, I think, when did she do that? I can't remember the year, but it was a long time ago. If y'all been tapped in with the W, Cynthia Cooper played a long time ago. She's 29 straight games, double figure scoring, which is third all time in WNBA rookie history. And she is the fastest to reach 500 points and 100 assists. I like those records, fastest to,
Mhm.
because I feel like some of these greats are about to get erased. Not erased from the record books, but they're going to probably move down a lot quicker than they probably expected to because of the expansion of our season and the amount of games that we have. So until 2022, we only played 34 games, 36 in 2022, 40 games in 2023 and 2024. And then this year, playing 44 games, and that's only going to continue to go up. So we're going to see a lot of records being broken in these next few years because we have more games. So I want you guys to keep that in mind when you're like, how bad was the league back then? Blah, blah, blah. No, they just had less games. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. And that's why I really appreciate those players that do things fast because you don't need all the games to do that. So shout out to Paige. She did have a beautiful quote about the mid range. I know you guys know me as a 3-point shooter, but when you get run off the line, you have to have a mid-range shot or you have to be a really elite finisher. And I have always thought that the mid-range shot is very important. The game of basketball, even though in recent years they tried to remove it from our game completely. Her quote said, and I quote, this is right here, I'm quoting it. I truly think basketball has gotten away from it. It's mostly layups and threes. Teams don't know how to guard it, so I think it's an advantage when you can score in the mid range. I absolutely agree. I can tell you right now, the top 5 mid-range shot takers in the league, 1 through 5. We start with Courtney Williams, who has taken 246 mid-ranges. Paige in second place with 171 mid-ranges. Tina Charles, 130. Asia Wilson, 115. And Arike Agumbuwale with 113. So those are the top 5 mid-range shot takers. Those are their attempts. Can you guess who has the highest percentage in that 5?
Paige?
Ding, ding, ding. Was that a lucky guess? Was that a lucky guess?
No, it wasn't. It just makes sense because talking with that much conviction as a rookie, saying
Facts.
teams just don't know how to guard it. Like, obviously, like you have to be leading in that category in order to say something like that. Because
So
my
she's
question to you was going to be, why is that? Is that just not? Is it because the game has changed?
Oh no, I have an explanation for you right here.
Oh,
if y'all were
hell
wondering, she's shooting 46% from mid-ranges, which is extremely impressive. The thing about mid-range shots is, for the most part, they take just a lot of repetition and a lot of rhythm. So you can't just like wake up one day and be like, I'm just start throwing up middies. Like, it's something that you have to work on a lot. And I know that because before I went to AU in February, I focused a lot on my middies and I was hitting them in AU. And I was like really happy about it because it was something that my game had gotten away from since being in the WNBA of being a 3-point shooter. So I really wanted to go into AU shooting more middies. And I did. And I found a lot of success with my long ball and getting to the rim when you get that mid range. So Paige is absolutely right. People do not know how to guard it. What changed the landscape of basketball a little bit? You know, we talk about Steph Curry and his 3-point shooting. I mean, I would throw James Harden into that 3-point shooting influx as well. And that is because of something called the Morey ball approach. Okay. So what that is I was about to curse because it makes me so mad. The basketball nerds use data and analytics to basically say, threes rule everything, okay? Because it's the most points, obviously. Because a mid-range and a layup are both worth the same number of points, but the level of difficulty of the mid-range is harder, it's less important in a bad shot because you could just go get a regular layup or a dunk instead of taking a difficult mid-range. And then a free throw obviously is uncontested, but it's only worth 1 point. So when Daryl Morey was in charge of the Houston Rockets, that's kind of when he started using his approach. And the Rockets at the time really were one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. So people are like, oh, it works. You know, let's get rid of the mid-ranges. Threes, layups. But you have to have an offense that caters to that. You have to have personnel that is buying into that, who has a skill set for that. And that's not always the case. Carmelo Anthony talks about it all the time because he was on that Rockets team during this no middies era. And if y'all follow basketball, Carmelo Anthony is one of the best mid-range scorers that we've ever seen in the history of basketball. So this is a Hall of Famer, and it didn't work for him because that's important. It wasn't his style of play. And he is very vocal about how much he hated playing that way. And it's not for everybody. So you just have to make sure you have the right players in place, you have the right offense in place. We just played Dallas a few days ago, like I said earlier. They were not at their full strength. They were coming off of that hard game in LA where Paige had 44. They looked really tired. They looked exhausted. But just looking at their offense and the actions that they run for Paige, and if Arike was healthy, even some of the actions they run for Maddie Sechrist, like you can tell that they do value mid-range shooting and getting them open and getting them in space and actions for them to create for themselves. Paige is really good at her mid-post game. Like I was not hip to that mid-post game at Chess. She didn't really have to use it that much in college at UConn because she was just so much better than everybody already. I had no idea that she posted up that much and she was so efficient from the mid-post and the post. So yeah, so there's a reason why she's confident when she's saying, and I completely agree with her, but it is something that you have to practice. And I do think Courtney Williams is and has been one of the best mid-range pull-up jump shooters for like since she got drafted, really. I was on her team when I was a rookie and I was amazed. by her mid-range shooting. And the fact that she, despite what everybody says about threes and layups, she has continued to shoot that little mid-range her entire career and has found a lot of success in it. Shout out to Courtney. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to all the mid-range jump shooters. The midi ain't dead, y'all. Okay? This is coming from a three-point shooter. It's not dead. Practice it. You have to work on it. It's a skill. So, yeah.
And shout out to Courtney for making history as well.
Snaps for Courtney. Breaking the Minnesota Lynx season assist record.
Single season assist record, yes.
Which is crazy. As I keep telling y'all, Courtney is not a point guard. She is a shooting guard turned into a point guard. So for her to break that record is super impressive, especially since one of the best point guards to ever play in Lindsay Whalen was part of the Minnesota Lynx. So for her to break her record is crazy. So shout out to Courtney.
I also want to add that she has the third most games in WNBA history with 10 points, 10 assists, and 0 turnovers.
Wow, Courtney. Man, I'm so proud of her. I wish...
She's having a year.
She's having a year, and she's like grown up so much from when I met her in my rookie year to now. Like just to see what she's gone through in her career, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and for her to come out, finding her home in Minnesota of all places. Because I know like when a lot of people, when she signed to Minnesota, people were like, how is this going to work? Because Courtney has a big personality. But she's fit in seamlessly, and she's really like changed the culture of the Minnesota Lynx. Like Minnesota Lynx have always been like very, we get shit done, we down to business, we do things like this, we do things like that. And she's kind of like loosened them up a little bit. Her and Napheesa Heideman with the stud buds, K-Mac putting a little pink in her hair, Dejanay pulling out the pink hair to be the femme bud. Like, it's been really cool to see because I was a part of that Lynx organization and I did have a great time there. But it was very like, we do things, this is how we do
by
things.
The book.
Yeah. So for them to be loosening up a little bit, and it's, look at how they're playing. Like, it's easy peasy. You let people be who they are as long as they show up to work every day and do what they're supposed to do. Like, all that extra stuff doesn't matter. As long as you keep the main thing, and that's what the Lynx have done all season long. You have players in MVP contention, breaking records, shooting the shit out the ball, K-Mac. Like, you bring in a player like Dejanay. You have a player who didn't even play last season in the WNBA because she was playing overseas, coming in from the bench, having the fastest WNBA triple-double in history. Like, all on the same team. How did this team get assembled? Like, without any of us paying attention. You were talking about super team in Vegas, super team in New York. Whole time the super team is in Minnesota.
Right. And it's not even... It's just a good organization. It's like super team this, super team that, but they've made, like you said, kind of under the radar, move here, move there, everybody buying in. Their coach said that Courtney's one of the easiest players she's ever had to coach. And you describing or seeing her and the stud buds and being like, oh my God, she has this big personality. And then coach is like, oh no, she's fits in seamlessly. She's great to coach. It works very well. Mm-hmm. And to be getting all that public attention from stud buds and everything, it's like, they're really having a time.
They're having a year, and they're handling it very well.
Went 9-1 without their MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep,
that's insane.
Yeah, so they're a team that obviously everybody is gonna be on the lookout for during playoffs, and good luck to the team that has to play them in the first round. It was us a few days ago. It no longer is us. So we're moving on up. We're 6th place now, guys. Whoop whoop, whoop whoop. So
I know that's right.
We're moving on up. Got to 20 wins, which I haven't won 20 games in a while. So snaps for that. Snaps for that. Last record-breaking thing that we want to just give a quick shout out to is the league breaking the attendance record on August 21st. It was reported that over 2.5 million people have attended WNBA games this season, which breaks the record that was held or created in 2002. So, yay!
It's so crazy to me whenever I hear all of these records and then it's like since 2000 and I'm like, what was going on in 2000? Not that like what was going on, but I'm like 2000? That many people? Dang.
I'm telling you, the WNBA was like, I hope that somebody somewhere has been like just documenting all of this, the ups and the downs of the league, because it was cracking in the early stages of it. Like it was
early
cracking.
2000s. Like every record I hear is like since the early 2000s. It's like this isn't just something that happened yesterday. It seems to be this was something that's been happening, took a little break, and it's happening again.
And it's so crazy because, you know, the early 2000s, it was new, it was fun. But then I would say like the prime era of WNBA was that 2010s era. And we don't
we
we
always talk about this.
We don't like hear about it as much. Like we hear about the individual players, but we don't hear about the rivalries, this player, you know, the 6 players at that time, like what these teams, a movement, like we just don't hear a lot about any of it, which is why I love DT's documentary so much, is because you got a kind of like an inside look of that era of WNBA. But it's like, yeah, like you said, it's either like early 2000s or 2021 and on. Like this whole middle part of the WNBA is like dark times, the dark ages. And some of the best basketball was being played at that time. So I'm hoping that somebody somewhere is doing something to like bring all
I'm sure Netflix is somewhere on it.
Gosh, I hope so, because I grew up watching that. And I was like, this was just, it was so exciting. It was fun. But again, I also was a kid. Like even when I was like thinking about when my dad was coaching in the league. So if anybody knows the Orlando area, there's this place called like the RDV complex. So it was basically like a giant YMCA, like a super nice giant YMCA. Like it had weightlifting, it had basketball courts, it had an ice skating rink. Like it was just like a big place. And that's where the Orlando Miracle would practice, at like a giant YMCA. And I thought it was like the most amazing thing ever. But like, why is a professional team practicing in a public space?
Yeah, that's
But
insane.
when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, they got this big gym to themselves. Like, no, it wasn't. I had no idea what was going on, but I loved every minute of it. And I just think that it's funny thinking back. Like
the innocence of childhood.
They really were just in like a Lifetime Fitness, essentially practicing. And I was like, this is so cool. They get to just play basketball in this big facility. It wasn't there. It wasn't even theirs. They were visitors. But that's just the perspective of things. And yeah, the innocence of being a child. But that was where my WNBA dream started, guys. Humble beginnings. Humble beginnings.
That's important. But guys, we are going into a crazy week. Standings are like very different already, I feel, than last week. So the season is winding down, which is so sad. It's flying by. But me and Lexie will be back next week with a new recap. I'm sure new records are to be broken, new things to say. You keep climbing on up. Lexie is 6 points away.
6 points away, guys. Hopefully next week. What has it been like 4 weeks? 4 weeks since I've like, man, I'm getting balloons for myself and everything.
Amazing.
I don't care. I'm gonna throw a party in Seattle for myself. Me and Cannon. Guys, it was Cannon's birthday yesterday, my puppy. And I wasn't with him.
Cannon.
So happy birthday, Cannon. We're gonna celebrate his birthday. Hopefully my 1000th point. And hopefully that will be before next week's episode. But for now, thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. We will see y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.